So yes, it is happening. You can pinch yourself and find out, make sure it's not a dream. It's a physical conference, face-to-face, UVID. Dronetech 2021 is starting. Good morning, everybody. Saying we are excited, it's not a cliche, it's an understatement. We've gone through quite a lot during the past 2 years of the COVID-19, medically, nationally. But there's one thing that hasn't stopped, which is technology and threats and opportunities. And of course, one of the branches of the fields that are very quickly growing, and with no exaggeration, is anything that has to do with UAS, in the air, on land, underwater, especially in the air, but not only. Drones, planes, aircrafts, and we are lucky enough to have some vision and a lot of being very determined, especially my partner, to starting UVID 2012. Not later than that. We're talking about 9 years ago. Alon Unger, Alon, the living spirit of this vision that started in 2012 and is now taking place for the 9th time. We've missed, 1 year because of COVID, but we have now doubled our energy, and the amount of sessions is absolutely enormous. So we need to make sure of the COVID precautions, and I wish us all an absolutely wonderful convention. Ooh. Let me please be moved, very, very, very moved. I will start my presentation in a minute, but on a personal note, about thirds of the presentation will be about this feeling of recreating this, and the empty seats at the back will be filled soon, because a lot of people are at the entrance. Something very big is taking place here. It's not only a conference. I'm so happy to start our 9th conference today. Every year it was held at Avenue, and this year we decided to move here because we have a strong persuasion that this will take place. UVID is, it's my life in a way when it comes to the content. It started 2012, over 20,000 people came to this conference. We talk about conceptual topics, we talk about new technologies. It is the main event in Israel in this field, and I must tell you that from many, many talks with many people, it is considered an international prime event. And it is happening thanks to something that exists here, thanks to something very big that exists here. UVID and COVID. 3 parts to my presentation. First is about this personal aspect. Then I will tell you why it is called Katbam as a national growth engine, community to ecosystem. Then I will talk a bit about the conference today. But UVID COVID, have you noticed? It goes together very well, right? And I've noticed yesterday, I didn't even think about it. And then I looked at my presentation and I said 19, right? Because the last UVID was held at 2019. So UVID COVID 2019. Personally, what I experienced, what we have gone through during the past 2 years, I will not talk about the whole world, just about our little, part of the world, about this conference. 2019, I stood on this stage and I told you that 2020 will be held on November 5th, 2020. We had the date. Today, we still have the date. Even today, we have the date for next year's event, right? Because it's an annual event. And also this year, put it in your calendar. And then in March, we understood that November conference 2020 will not take place. We've tried repeatedly to hold this conference mid-July, end of July, and then we understood with this little asterisk at the left that we can't give a specific date. We kept postponing, but one decision we've made, and it wasn't an easy decision to make. There's no online UVID, and there will never be. This must be, one goes with the other. It has to be personal. We have to meet each other. We have to be excited about it together. And then we moved to 2021. We skipped a year. We understood what's happening around us in the world. And I must tell you that during the past months, somewhere around June, September, when we already, set the date, we decided it's going to happen. It's going to take place. And then we started going out, from person to person. And the absolute truth, everybody are always coming. Everybody was shut, put out, extinguished. It was hard to reignite us. It was just about the darkness, not so much light. From between June and September, not so long ago, during the holidays, we had to show the way, to gather people like this and tell them this will happen, it will go back, it will start again. This door has reopened 3 weeks ago. Changes about to do with Israel opening the sky to guests from abroad. We had to show people the door, and we could find out, we could see that, and more lecturers who want to join us and speak. And we came to this point. This, to me, is coming out of what has happened to us during the past 18 months. I hope you feel the same. This is a picture I took during the Arad Masada run. It's a wonderful event. But to me, and I think also for all of us, this event is a symbol of somewhere, of maybe starting a new path, a new journey. Something might happen in the future. We can't predict, but this is the sun rising for me, and I'm sure that for many others amongst you. And I'm so happy to look at our pictures from 2019 and say, this is the heart of UVID, this is the heart of the event, and I'm so happy that we are creating a reality. We meet, we stand behind, as will happen here. People will be standing here around at the sides, not because there won't be any seats, any vacant seats left. And we will be, going through this wonderful exhibition and remember what it's like to see new things that we haven't seen before. And also creating some buzz. There'll be people here today that will be attracting interest because we're interesting for people outside. We miss that. It's this kind of field where you have to talk about it, you have to be there. We are leading in so many ways and we are attracting interest. And we're doing things here that are very personal. You'll see during the day many people, that present personal things. We do things that we need them. This is giving this certificate to the Shabtai. He's the pioneer of UAS on our stage, and we do educational events. You will see a huge educational event taking place around here today, and we meet, for reunions. 2018, Squadron 200 meets here on the stage. The same thing will happen today at 2 o'clock. We miss this, and we can't, miss out on it, and we miss most being happy. This is, I don't know, can you see how happy I am in this picture? We miss being happy, and this is a very happy event. UVID is, I told you, it's not a conference. It's not even a fire camp. It's not a reunion. The closest thing I could think about, and I'm sorry about, the cliche from Avatar, but it's like a soul meeting, gathering. It's just meeting, putting together the edges. And some people here know each other for 2 years only, or 50 years. And something like this with huge energy will recreate. For me, it's like recreation, and I believe that the same thing goes for many of you. If we put all the edges of people here together, we'll put them together into the past, we'll find out something much, much bigger. And what's so beautiful about it, it's not just the past. UVID is also about taking us forward. It is different from other fields. It's not just about past. It's not just a reunion. It is taking us, very far into the future. I saw that I missed something that I wanted to tell you. I recommend many people to see this thing called the theory of the adjacent possible. Adjacent possible is what I will soon show you on stage. It happened 2 years ago. It means that people that are here are creating something new that is not directly connected to what they came here for the purpose they came in for, because they meet each other and they create a whole new common denominator. UVID, as I told you, is different from other things in this country because it has to do with 50 years of history, but it doesn't end here today. It goes farther into the future, and it will stay with us for many years. Aviv Ben-Nun, sitting here with us today, is here at this picture, Squadron 200 ceremony, right? 1979, as you can see. And they celebrate 50 years this year, so you can see that the UAS has a long heritage here in Israel. And this little text message that I've pasted here, someone sent me, someone who's here today. What other place can you think of that people, where people come, and they have the same interest as their children? He wrote to me in this text, "Good evening, my daughter is coming here with her entire division. they're from intelligence, and this is the spirit and of this place. But we are not only about feelings. I want to show you that UVID recreates the reality, shapes the reality, and it will happen today as well. This has happened 2 years ago on our stage, 5 speakers on the floor. It's a regulatory event monitored by Yuval. The rest of the people you will also meet today, most of them are here today. Ministry of Justice, of Transportation, of Communication, API, and the Innovation Authority. You will see what happens to us on stage. I am very happy to start this session. As was noted by Alon Unger when he spoke, this is the beginning of a tradition. So I suggest a regulatory pilot that allows new technology. We will be so happy to know if there is a will to create this pilot when it comes to the policy in Israel regarding the drones. So I'm giving it to you. I'm throwing the gauntlet. If you want us to be the interfacing between you and this international institution, so we will be very happy to follow up on this. You've mentioned the fact that it's actually a meeting. We would like to move it forward. We have a team ready to go. We take it. And this is how the drones initiative was created. Many people can take credit, should take credit for this, but this place shapes reality and will shape reality today as well. It will also shape reality today. And the reason for which I'm taking you on this journey that I call UAS as a growth engine, national growth engine, is this is my conclusion for the past 2 years. NAAMA's presentation showed me how important is the initiative, but such initiative that really succeeds, you know, top to bottom. It's sponsored by the state, and it doesn't matter how important it is that we're doing things bottom up. State also needs to take leadership, and I can tell you that during the past few years, it is happening. It's in the air. The most substantial challenges for USA, for Israel, for all of us, for the whole world actually, are at the top 3 bulletin points. This was written by the Israel Commissioner. Defense, security, and privacy protection, but under the line are the next 3 bulletin points. People are not dealing with those, not enough. The cyber protection when it comes to education, academy, occupation, and most of all, build environment and support. These, you know, we're not there yet. We are doing that bottom up, and we need to move things forward. When we're talking about development, we need to look at the infrastructure that our state is laying out in order to promote this. There's a list here of 9 different infrastructures, but I'm sure there are other ones as well when it comes to economical business infrastructure, digital, integration of experiments, terminological infrastructure, right? I mean, what? UAS, UAV, drone, how do we call that thing? RPV, what? Regulatory infrastructures, we know about it. We talk about it a lot when it comes to education, and I want to talk about that. When we talk about education, we need to look 360 degrees, how we started very, very early age, how we train people for IDF, how we teach them academical degrees, how we give them professional development and training. We will talk about it quite a lot today and tomorrow in Yerucham. It is very important, substantial, to take this thing forward, because when we look at how we create a future, we need to build future through reality, through education. We need to look how we do regulation and security in Israel. We've done that in the past through these wildflowers as a child. When I was a child, for 3, you know, if we take young children and 3 weeks, we'll talk to them about drones. This is how we'll create regulation, starting at a young age. Also, when it comes to aerial regulations, we have to look at that in order to understand the very big revolution taken place by CAA. And we have to talk about digitation. It's not just enough to pass laws, what we can and can't do. If we don't do a true digitation of this, where we send a request and get an immediate response, everything will be held back in Israel. And to sum up, when you map all of the different ministries in Israel, one after the other, you can understand that all of them have to, you know, in some way or another, deal with the UAS as a user, as a consumer, as a regulator. And in order to do this, appropriately, as we know how to do nationally, as other states are doing. We need to change the system. We need to define this as a leading topic, as a central topic, and this is exactly what we're dealing with today. So we're taking it to that direction. We will have someone from the Ministry of the Industry. We'll talk about how to take it forward economically. We'll talk about the defense civilian connection. It's not just about civil, it's not just about military, it's together. We'll talk a bit about smart unmanned solution. It's going forward. We see it outside, but also here. We'll talk about it today. We will also talk about the connection between IT and AI, the connection with that to UAS. Is it a plane with a camera? What is it? We'll talk about that. And today we've put everything together. There are no different sessions. You don't need no parallel sessions, so you don't need to choose. We're just running all through the day, no break through the morning, because we've meshed everything together. And from now until lunch, it will be just one session after the other, one talk after the other. During lunch break will be held at about 1:30. At the end of the day, we will have an after party. If you stay here for the after conference, beer and drones and music between 5 and 6, that will be a wonderful way to end our very happy day together. Tomorrow we will have a meeting in Yerucham that will have to do with this city that is turning into UAS city in Israel. We'll talk about it today by the mayor of Yerucham. Thank you very much for all our sponsors, thanks to whom we can ignite this day, call you all to come here. But at the end of the day, somehow we must, put all the edges together in order to take it from here, from the Expo, Tel Aviv Expo, and move it outside into the world. So thank you, everyone, for all of our content partners, and some of them are very meaningful, and you will meet them here today. Thank you very much to all the educational initiatives. Some of you can recognize, but some people are graduates from Leavim, Atidim, Akfar Yarok. And to leave you with something when you leave here today, if I can leave you with something, is this poster. Look how rich this world in Israel. It's wonderful. All of these were made in Israel, blue and white. UASs. No many places in the world, maybe no other place that can create such richness in a UAS poster. When I talk with the Ministry of Economy and I tell them, they ask me, what goes on in Israel in these topics? And you give us the numbers. And I send them mostly this picture because, we just, one picture, 1,000 words. So thank you very much. I'm very happy to start this day, this conference, this wonderful, wonderful conference, and mark the date, November 9th, 2022, next year. We will be here in Tel Aviv. And on the next day, we will go back to Yerucham. We don't do a UVID online. If we don't have UVIDs physically here, we will just skip it. But you make sure to come here with all this goodness that we have together. Thank you so much.